Hi friends, you thinking about what am I going to make for Easter brunch? Are you serving a brunch at your house, or maybe you've been asked to bring a dish? Well, I got you covered. I'm trying out this recipe for the first time, so we'll taste it and see how it turns out. It looks great. We used chicken sausage with apple. We also used a little bit of sauteed apple, roasted potatoes, and some eggs and cream, and also, there's a little kicker here to make your crust a little bit easier. So if you want to find out that, you're going to have to keep watching. And let me know in the comments if you're hosting brunch. I'd like to know how many people are and if this is a recipe you might try. So let's get cooking. So we'll cut up a couple of potatoes to put in here, and we're going to roast those first so they'll be nice and crispy. Sometimes if you just throw them in raw, like if you're making like a pot pie, chicken pot pie or beef pot pie, you can put them in there. And I'm cutting these very small just so you know. When you throw those in raw into your meat and veggie mixture for the pot pie, they kind of come out more like steamed, and a little bit of a different texture. So I'm going for, I want it a little bit crispy. I mean, we're going to be baking it with the egg and everything, and it is going to soften it up a little bit, but we'll have that nice brownness. Let me show you about the size of the cubes I'm kind of doing. I've got my oven preheated to 425. And we're going to throw this on the baking sheet. A little olive oil. You can use a little coconut oil. I might not really need all these because I was going to do a smaller egg casserole, but we'll see. We'll see. I needed to use these up, so I figured I'd just cut them all. All right. All right, let's put that on the pan. The oven is good and preheated. Probably take 15 to 20 minutes with this little bit. Put about like a tablespoon, cut my head off. Put about a tablespoon of olive oil. Good sprinkle of salt. Good sprinkle of pepper. And let's spread them around and coat them and flat it out. So with the olive oil, it shouldn't stick on our pan. Let me wash my hands. And this is going to be a really nice little early Easter morning breakfast or brunch. Like a lot of people do brunch for Easter. So bring this to a family gathering or covered dish. Let's get that in the oven. We're going to cook up our chicken and apple smoked sausage. And I found a nice way to do that is to steam it and then use about a half a cup of water. And we're going to steam that for, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes. And then halfway through, we'll turn it over. And then we'll, after the water's evaporated, we're going to brown it so we get a nice color on there. But this just works really well. I've done it a few times this way, well, more than a few times. And I like that technique. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we're going to get some other things prepped for this yummy dish. We will use a little bit of chopped green onion. I think this is a, I don't know if it's a Granny Smith or a delicious, I can't remember. I think it's a Granny Smith actually. Kind of whatever you have. And I'm just going to use a melon baller to get that. Now this is a little bit overripe, but for this dish it's going to be all right. But if you're serving it for Easter, and this is just a tryout one to see if I want to make this. I kind of had this in my mind, so I just want to see. I mean, we have the chicken apple sausage. So I thought this will be a nice little addition. Something a little different. Get that core out. Oh, I probably should have peeled it first. Do I want to leave the green skin on there? I think I'll take the skin off. The peel. I should have done that first. I get talking and I forget what I'm doing. So let me know if in the comments if you go to a restaurant maybe for Easter brunch, or do you do something at home? It's like, are people still doing that? I know it's a big church day for so many, as we're celebrating our Lord's resurrection. And I know we pretty much have maybe something a little special for Easter. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Been in different churches, you know, I've lived in different places, so everybody does it a little bit different. Some people will have an early, like, sunrise service. Done that for many years. Been in many churches where we have a special breakfast. That's what I love about the holidays. Get together, community, do special things, eat special foods with special people. I'm just giving this a little fine chop. I want little small pieces. It could. It's like I was like, do I want to saute these in the pan with the chicken? Or do I want to roast it? I think I would like it more sauteed. And this is just really a small apple, small to medium. And for this small one that I'm making, this should be plenty. If you were doing a big casserole, you might need a large or too small. Let's check on that sausage. If you can see, the water's already evaporating a little bit. We'll just give them a flip over. Probably a minute or two in here. And then we'll take the lid off so the water can evaporate. We'll put a little, maybe avocado oil in there. Get it nice and browned. I am going to be working on some fun appetizers. Or at least one appetizer for Easter. Something a little bit different. I was thinking, I'm like, what do I want to do? I want to do something a little different. So I'm doing, my theme colors this year are green, like a sage green, heather green, and orange. So I might do something around there. I haven't totally locked it in, though, so I'm not telling. But maybe you could tell maybe what flavor profile might be in that appetizer. All right, so this is, what was that, about a minute? No, that was a little more. I'm gonna take the lid off and let that steam down or reduce down. Cut up some fresh parsley. I just want the leaves, of course. I'm thinking like a tablespoon and a half. I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit. I just mushed together my herbs and give them a little chop. Watch the fingers. Smells good. So what are you making this Easter? Are you going to make like a lamb, ham, brisket? A lot of times I do brisket because we celebrate Passover. And sometimes we'll do a combination because we are Christians. But I love all the symbolism in the biblical feasts. Really, the Passover meal, it talks about the Passover lamb, and that's who Jesus is. So it kind of completes it. I love to celebrate that. So sometimes we do brisket. Sometimes we do leg of lamb. And see, our water totally evaporated out of here, and that's going to brown up. So let's go ahead and put some, oh, I had that upside, yeah, tongue tied. I had that upside down to get the last little bit, because sometimes you can still have quite a bit, well, like a whole teaspoon or so maybe in the jar, but I don't have that much, so we'll use a little olive oil. So I try to get that last little bit of oil out of there. I always put my jars upside down. We're just going to get that a little bit browned. I've got this to medium, because we're going to saute our apples in here after we get this a little brown. Oh, our potatoes. Let's check those. This is how they look. They still need a little bit longer. Those are not quite 20 minutes yet. So let's do another 5. I'm going to put this on low. Actually, I'm going to turn that off now. I'll let that pan cool down, and then I'm going to put my apples in here to glaze it, but I don't want to do it when it's so hot. Let's take those sausages out of that pan, and I had the heat off, but I'm going to put it on low, medium low. We'll just set these sausages aside, because we'll cut them up in a little bit. Let's give it a quick saute to those apples. Put a little butter in there. Excuse me. Let's use like about a tablespoon. That smells good. I think this might be a good choice. All right, so I'm just going through. I just went through my fridge to see what cheese I had. I knew I had Havarti, and I thought, that's going to be good with this. And I've got a little bit of white cheddar, so I'm just using what I have. Slices here. You can buy a block of cheese and shred it yourself. But I'm trying to use up what I have, so that's what we're going to do. I think that the cheddar and the Havarti will be a nice blend. I got about 4 slices of cheddar, and I'm going to use a whole package of the Havarti, because we do want this nice and cheesy. So what is that? Oh, this had 16 slices. I was trying to figure out how many ounces that was, but all right, let's get a little cutting board. And remember, if your cheese is nice and cold, it's easier to slice. Now I had this sitting out a little bit, so, which I usually don't do, but I was trying to be ready for recording today, so. Give those apples a little stirring. Oh, I wish I had a little apple juice. I want to get that brown glaze off there. And that will just add some nice flavor to it. Got this down to low because we don't need to saute it too much. Just want to get them a little slightly tender. I'm just gonna use my fingers to break this up a little bit because the slices kind of condensed together since it was so warm. And here's the white cheddar. I do make a delicious creme, like a creme brulee bread pudding, but I've made that so many times, so I was like, and of course that's really sweet. So if you're looking for a sweet one, I will make that sometime. Actually, I have it in a course that I've put together, and I might release that course soon if I can get the time, because it's a great holiday brunch, and you really can do it for any holiday. I have a dish I make, it's called pizzagina. It's an Italian dish with lots of eggs different Italian hams and cheeses like provolone and basket cheese, a little mozzarella. Oh my gosh, some people make it with a crust. I usually don't. And the course that I did on that, we didn't have it with the crust. But yeah, I'm thinking about putting that out soon. Just too many things to do. All right, so we're gonna get our casserole dish. Cut the sausage. We're gonna get the casserole dish ready, and we're gonna use our Crescent. Is that Crescent rolls? Yeah, Crescent dough, but you can get it in sheets, and we'll do that for. I don't want to take that out until we're right ready. So I got to straighten this up and give myself a little space. Let's use our pan to put our dough in. We're going to go ahead and put our dough in the pan, and I'm going to pre-bake that a little bit. So this is the Crescent sheets. And actually, I was thinking I need 2 pans. We'll see. Or, yeah, I do need 2 cans. So I'm going to just take this. I want to butter the bottom. I think it'll probably be all right, but I don't want it to stick at all. So, I mean, this pan that I have works pretty good. Things don't stick to it much, but use our hands and just give it a good old coating around the sides and the bottom corners. There we go. Now this is so simple, right? How simple can this part is the simplest, and we'll see how it turns out. I want to get that down in there because we're going to use another can for the top layer. And I got a little bit of holes here, so I'm going to tidy that up a little bit now. Actually, I need this to... I'm going to use half and half because I don't like the way it's turning out. And I'm going to just use my fingers and press together those little holes. I probably should give you a little close-up to see how I was hoping with this rectangle that it would come up, because it comes up the sides, but I want it on the ends, but I wanted it to come up. I'm ripping off. I've got a lot of excess dough on the corners. Actually, let me come along. Let me position the camera better so you can kind of get a look at what I'm talking about. There we go. So see, I have plenty on these ends. And I probably should have just left well enough alone. But no. I wouldn't play with it much. I had to go and mess with it. If I just let it in, it would have been a little bit easier. Pull some dough off the end. I wanted it to come up these sides. So if this happens, I don't think that's going to be enough to come up along the sides. And I put it along here. Now I'm just stretching it out a little bit, if you can see. It's not perfect. put this on the side, attach it to the rest of the dough. Press down if I got any little holes or thin spots. And we're going to just put this in the oven. I'm going to try 5 minutes. Let's see if my plan works. Because I want it cooked a little bit. I don't want it all mushy on the bottom. And I'm concerned if I put that egg mixture in there, that's what will happen. So if you can kind of see, it's a mess. But nobody's going to see that. But just trying to get this worked out before we get it in there. Let's set the timer 5 minutes. All right. Let's get the sausage cut up. Need a bigger plate. I'm going to cut those in thin little bite-sized pieces, maybe quarter inch rounds. I could cut this in half if I wanted to. If I wanted it to be more uniform to my potatoes, I could do that. Ooh, still a little hot. I mean, I'll let this cool down a little bit. You know, that one's a little bit different, and these are smaller. So I could just cut those rounds a little smaller. I don't know if I really needed to do that. But I did want everything to be kind of a uniform consistency. So as far as when you're biting into it, you don't have one big piece of something and then the smaller pieces of the potato. And of course the apples even smaller. Of course, gotta have a little taste. Let's see, what did I eat today? A cup of coffee? I feel like I had something. Did I have breakfast? Oh yes, I did. I had hard-boiled eggs. A couple of hard-boiled eggs. And I'm not fussing with this so much. This is so hot. I'm going to cut it. This is really good. You don't have to put sausage. You can use regular sausage, or like I use chicken sausage. You can use ham if you want. You can use brown breakfast sausage. I'm gonna cut this up, wash my hands, and we'll put together the egg mixture. Let's start with 4 eggs. I was telling you about that pizzagina that I make. I make that not every year, but I've made it a lot of years. And that uses a lot of eggs. So I usually make a big batch, so and sometimes we make some for extras. I have a friend that makes it, I think pretty much every year. She makes huge batches, I think, to give away. I never asked her how many eggs she uses, but I've made a couple big batches and used like 4 dozen eggs, so I'm sure she uses more than that. Like I said, I if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I did grow up in an Italian town. So there was a lot of pizzagina there, a lot of delicious food. So we're just going to give that a good little whisk. Get the yolks all incorporated. And let's use a little half and half. Probably could use a little milk even, whole milk. I'm going to put I'm going to use, yeah, we can use a quarter cup. I was like, do I want to use a whole cup? All right, let's check that. It's puffing it nice. I think it'll be safe to put it's looking a little slouchy. It's looking a little sad. So I've got to come up with another plan. I'm going to put one more egg. Sit that on the table. Okay. And it's like, do I want to put my seasonings in now? I'm going to go ahead. We're going to put a little salt and pepper. Remember, the potatoes got salted really well. We probably don't need much. Let's do a couple pinches. And the sausage, of course, has some sodium in it. So, where's my pepper? All right, so we're going to use a little bit of dried minced onion. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of that. And probably like a quarter teaspoon of some dried minced garlic. We're going to use about 1, 2, 3. Let's use a whole teaspoon of ground sage. And a little bit of pepper. Couple shakes, 2 or 3 shakes. All right, we're going to add our meat. That's going to be loaded. Our potatoes and apples. Smells good. It's not even cooked yet. Let's give that a good stir through. And let's put, I'm not going to use all that parsley, but it's going to give it a pretty color. So I had about 2 full tablespoons, so I used like a tablespoon and a half. And let's add some of our cheese. I'm going to put about half. Mix it in through with the other ingredients. Hopefully it's mixing it evenly proportioned. So we don't have like big lumps of cheese only on part of it. And we probably could have gone with one more egg, but let's take a look, because once we get it in this bowl, I'll wash my hands. I looked up that bowl and my slippery hands. All right. Let's put that in the, I'm going to use this spoon. I think it'll be a little easier. The bowl's pretty heavy. Yeah, we could have used one more egg, but we're going to go with this. Let's take a little bit of our cheese that we got left over. Spread that on the top. All right. Now we're going to get our other sheet of crescent dough, and we'll open that up and put that on the top and bake this. All right. And take a few pats of butter and put that in here. One on each end and one in the middle. There we go. Now this time I'm not going to play with this a lot. Let's see if I can get away without making a big mess. Had a big rip in it, so we're just going to throw that over the top and we'll salvage this. Pinch it together. You can always put a little water on your finger and that will help it stay together. There we go. So it's like the question is, do I just want to rip it to the sides of the pan? I'm trying to think, do I have any cute cookie cutters, like Easter cookie cutters? I think I just have like eggs, like Easter eggs. I'm just going to fold this over a little bit. I'll wet this with a little water. So it had that big rip in it. I don't want to play with it so much that it gets tough, but I was like, I want a little bit more of an edge there. Okay, I stretched that out enough. Let's poke a few holes in there with our tip of our fork. Let's get this in the oven. Oh, that's still hot, so let's use our pot holders. And I'm thinking we could put some little egg mixture on there, but I'm just going to put it in there for now. We'll be back. I'm thinking it's going to take a half an hour. I decided to coat it. I had this left. I just thought of it. I'm like, duh. I had this leftover a little bit of egg in here, and I can just quick use that and it'll have a pretty shine. No sense to waste this little bit. We only need a little bit. Okay, let's get that in the oven. For about a half an hour, we'll check it. I'll check it in about 20 minutes and see how it's turning out. We've had the breakfast egg casserole in here for 26 minutes. And it's smelling pretty good. Oh, my little side drooped down. See? Oh. I think it still needs to be, it's getting pretty brown. We can put some aluminum foil over there to keep it from browning too much. It smells really good. Let's tint that over there. And we'll put this back in for, I'm going to say 3 more minutes. Oh, tricky. Oh, I broke that little piece off. Let me get my tongs. Gotta be careful when you put it back in. And then I'm gonna put the foil right on top of there. And broke off. I had to put that back in the oven. It was not ready yet. I think 26 minutes, so I put it in for another like 8 minutes. Let's see. Let's take a look. I said I wasn't sure at first. Was that the butter, or because right in the middle here I had a big blob of butter, but it might have been the egg, so I just want to make sure it's completely cooked through. Yeah, it looks good. So let's give it a try. So we did this big casserole, and originally I thought it would be like 25 to 30 minutes. So it's probably more like 35 to 40 minutes. And you're going to have to be careful of your crust. Now the crust looks good. I did cover it for a while with a little aluminum foil. That's good. But look at that. Nice and cheesy. And we get some of the bottom crust. It's cooked nice. Thing I might change a little bit because it's the first time trying this one. Put in, that was enough for maybe 2. I could have done maybe this and a smaller, but then I would need more dough if I did 2. I would need more of those crescent rolls. So just keep in mind, if you make a bigger one, like this as deep as this, it's just cook a little longer. That's really tasty. I'm just checking through now. So we used a little bit of sage, onion, garlic, salt, pepper. roasted potato, sauteed apple, cheese, and our chicken apple sausage. Yummy. That's really good. Oh, fresh parsley too. Pretty good. The only bumble on there was I tapped this. I didn't secure the side of the one side, and some of my crust fell off. And then I had to cook a little longer than what I thought. So let me know if you give it a try. I think it's pretty good. So just a heads up, in the next couple of weeks we'll be doing probably an appetizer on for Easter, and we will also be doing a little bit of a series I'm going to be running on some old-fashioned desserts. I've got some cakes coming up that our family has done over the years, and I'm going to dig up some other old-fashioned desserts, and I thought that would be a fun little thing for like everyday family dessert, or if you're having a special occasion, you want to bring something a little bit of fun, a little retro. So we'll be doing that. So go ahead and subscribe so you make sure you get those videos. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.